Have you ever been trying to learn something new and just felt completely stuck? You start thinking, maybe I'm just not smart enough for this. Well, what if I told you that effective learning has way less to do with raw intelligence and a whole lot more to do with having the right system? Today, we're going to break down the daily habits of the most effective learners. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of it all. See, being strategic means you have a process, a repeatable cycle that you can use to learn pretty much anything, whether it's a new language or some kind of complex science concept. So, what does that process actually look like in practice? Okay, so phase one of the strategic learning cycle actually kicks off before you even touch a book or click on a tutorial. It is all about the plan. A great learning session doesn't just happen by chance. You've got to design it, right, from the get-go. So your plan is built on three key pillars. First, you need a super focused goal. You've got to know exactly what the finish line for this one session looks like. Second, you pick your strategy. You decide how you're going to get there. And finally, you anticipate challenges. This is where you get ahead of the game and figure out what might trip you up before it ever gets the chance. Now, a huge part of setting that goal is this idea of task specificity. A not-so-great goal is something vague, like, I want to learn Spanish. A really strategic goal, though, is way more precise, something like, learn the 10 most common Spanish verbs in the preterite tense. See the difference? It's small, it's measurable, and you'll know for sure if you've hit it or not. Once you've got that specific goal locked in, then you choose your strategy. And notice how intentional this is. A strategic learner isn't just going to passively read a chapter. No, they recognize the task is memorization. So they pick the right tools for that specific job, like using timed intervals with the Pomodoro technique and active recall with flashcards. And that final piece of the planning puzzle is dealing with obstacles before they even start. This is all about controlling your environment. I mean, if you know your phone is your kryptonite, the strategic move isn't just to try and resist it. Nope, it's to remove the temptation completely. A simple move, like just putting it in another room, can literally set you up for success. Okay, so our solid plan is in place. Now we move into phase two, the actual learning session. But listen, this isn't just about grinding it out. It's a dynamic process where you're constantly checking in with yourself, and this is key, adjusting your approach on the fly. This question right here might be the single most important one a strategic learner asks. It's not, am I putting in the hours? It's, is what I'm doing actually working? This simple question is the trigger for self-monitoring, and it's really the engine of the entire process. And here's where the magic really happens. Because let's be real, even the best plans can hit a snag. You're cruising along, everything's clicking, and then, bam, you hit a wall. Now, a non-strategic learner might get frustrated here, maybe even quit. But a strategic learner, they see this as an opportunity. Let's go back to our Spanish student. The flashcards are working great for most of the verbs, but for whatever reason, the verb hacer just will not sink in. A strategic learner notices this. They don't just keep banging their head against the wall with the same failing method. They pinpoint the exact point of failure. And this is the pivot. This is metacognition in action, basically thinking about your own thinking. The learner recognizes flashcards aren't the right tool for this one specific problem, so they switch tactics. Maybe they try making up a silly mental image or writing out full sentences to see the verb in context. This adaptive strategy use, it's like a learner's superpower. This is that aha moment, that little spark of self-correction. The learner doesn't just see that they made a mistake. They dig in to figure out why it happened. By realizing the sentence was about the past, they reinforce the rule for that specific verb tense. They're essentially creating their own little feedback loop, becoming their own teacher. All right, we're on to the final phase of this daily cycle. The learning session is over, but the work isn't quite done. Now comes the honest review. This is where you reflect on what just happened so you can be even sharper tomorrow. A strategic learner doesn't just slam their book shut and call it a day. They take just a minute to evaluate. They look back at their original goal, learn 10 verbs, and they're honest about the outcome. Okay, they got 8 down solid, but 2 are still a bit shaky. And crucially, they figure out the reason why. This brings us to something really powerful: attribution. Notice the reason given wasn't, I'm just bad at Spanish. It was, I was too tired. Strategic learners attribute their results to things they can actually control: their strategy choice, their effort, their energy levels. And this is so empowering because it shifts you from feeling stuck to feeling like you can actually change the outcome next time.
And here is how we close the loop. The evaluation from today directly informs the plan for tomorrow. The learner doesn't just hope they'll remember those two shaky verbs. No, they schedule a specific, short session to tackle them first thing. They're turning today's weakness into tomorrow's strength.
So when you put it all together, what you have isn't just 3 separate phases. It's a powerful, continuous cycle of improvement that just keeps building on itself day after day. This is the whole thing, the self-regulation loop. You plan what you're going to do, you monitor how it's going while you're doing it, and you adapt when you need to. Then you evaluate how it all went, and you use that info to create an even better plan for next time. It's a simple, repeatable process that, over time, leads to absolutely incredible results. So this isn't just some abstract theory. You can put this into practice right now. Instead of thinking about some huge mountain you have to climb, just think about the very first step. What's one small, specific, measurable goal you can plan for, monitor, and review tomorrow?